Hello, I'm Rachel. Welcome to another week of What's for Dinner. Starting off this week of What's for Dinners, we're getting a Sunday dinner going by getting some frozen hash browns going in a crock pot with some cream of mushroom soup and some cream of chicken soup. I seasoned them up with some garlic, some salt, and some pepper. Our kids seem to rotate in and out throughout the year, having dinner with us. And, every now and then we get the whole clan together. And when we do, there are like 25 of us. But on this day, we were having 4 of the family members over for dinner for a total of 8 people to feed. So anyway, now that we've done the math, I am just putting some sour cream into the crock pot along with a packet of ranch seasoning, closing the lid and letting these potatoes go for hours. I also threw one of our hams from our freezer into the oven. It just seemed like the quickest and easiest way to make a lot of food. And so to get the glaze going for this ham, I just poured off some of the ham juices into a saucepan, and then I'm just going to add that packet of brown sugar glaze that comes with the spiral ham into the ham drippings, and then I just squeezed in some honey, a couple of tablespoons, I'm not really sure, I didn't measure, and just mix that all together and let that brown sugar glaze dissolve, and then poured it back over the ham and then put it back in the oven and let it finish cooking. And every now and then I just have one of those days in the kitchen where things don't come together easily, and this was one of them. And for whatever reason, these potatoes were still cold, and so I decided to move them along a little faster. I just transferred them into a baking pan and popped them into the oven to finish up cooking. This was an easy meal. I don't know why it was so hard for me to bring it all together, but in the end, when it was all said and done, I just told myself we all have days like that sometimes. All that matters is that it turned out tasting delicious, just like I expected. Those potatoes were really creamy and really cheesy. I just made up some canned corn to go along with it. And even though the ham was a little burnt in some spots, it still was just delicious. My family, we like those burnt edges. Monday night we went out to eat. I was just feeling like I needed someone else to cook for me for a change, and my sweet husband made sure that it happened.
About to leave, already packing, come with me, I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions, we'll get away, this is what we waited for.
Hey everyone, just popping on to say hi. It's Tuesday and you just saw me put some chicken breast in the oven. That's what I'm cooking for my guys for dinner today. It's not much and they're going to have to come up with their own side dishes, but this mama has to go to work today and it's my late night, and sometimes it's a fend for yourself on Tuesday. It's Wednesday, and as per usual, we're doing breakfast for dinner. Seems like that's just a Wednesday thing for us, middle of the week, not sure what we're doing for dinner, so let's make breakfast. Right now I'm getting some sausage cooked up. I'm going to make some sausage gravy, and I'm going to fry up some hash browns in my deep fryer. I have some bacon cooking over here because we cannot have breakfast without having bacon for some reason in our house. And then in my sausage pan, I did pour some of that bacon grease in here because this sausage just does not make that much grease. And I gotta have some grease to make some gravy. Next, I'm just sprinkling on some all-purpose flour. This is a 1/4 cup scoop, but I can't ever just do one. So we're gonna do 2. All right, 1 1/2. So not quite a 1/2 cup. And I'm just gonna mix that all in until that flour taste is cooked out. We're just gonna let that come to a simmer. I decided to use the deep fryer to cook our hash browns because I thought it would just get them done a whole lot quicker, and it did. The gravy is starting to bubble up and get thick, and then once it gets turned back down to cool, it's going to get even thicker. We always seem to overdo it a little when we have breakfast for dinner. I added some fried eggs and some toast along with that sausage on top of those potatoes. On Wednesday, we had an ice storm move in the evening, and we woke up covered in ice, but at least we didn't lose power like so many others did. Oddly, the temps were back up to 44 degrees by the end of Thursday. It's Thursday. It's already after 6 o'clock. This week, I don't even know what to say about it. It has been a doozy. Anyway, it's time to make dinner. I mean, you're just not gonna get around it, you know, no matter what. Ice storm, power outages, dinner's gonna happen. I mean, your bellies are gonna get hungry and kids are wanting the food, and I mean, I want the food. But anyway, I am going to just whip up some sloppy joes. I thawed out some hamburger meat, not knowing what was going to be for dinner today. This week has been just one of those weeks where I did not have a meal plan, and I don't know, it could throw you off if you don't have a plan, or you can just roll with it. Sometimes it turns out even better when you don't have a plan, but I don't know, I kind of like to know what I'm doing a little bit. But I mean, if you take out some ground beef in the morning, let it thaw, you know, you can always do something like sloppy joes or spaghetti, something super easy that takes basic pantry ingredients. And I already have these green peppers chopped up in my freezer. I just needed some onion, so just doing a little onion here. I'm doing about 1/2 of an onion. Bill's not home tonight, it's just me and the boys. And, you know, even though they're like basically grown men, they're not like really into onions like we are. And they're getting to my eyes, so I better take care of that. Alright, in my frying pan, I'm just getting this hamburger browned up with these onions and peppers so that they can cook down and get soft and kind of disappear into the meat and become the background, not the forefront. And I just want to get some seasoning in here while I'm cooking it so that we have seasoning on every layer. This is some garlic powder, and I'm gonna come in with some salt if I can get it open. Do a little more. Some pepper. And then just because it's sitting here looking at me in the face, I'm gonna grab this tahini. My stepson corrected me and told me it's tahine, not tahine. Whatever. There we go. All right, we're just gonna let this all cook together. Then I'm gonna drain off the grease and then we'll start adding the sauce. Did I mention it's been a crazy day? So what could be any easier than tater tots baked in the oven? This is what's happening. All right, that meat is pretty much done and the vegetables are pretty soft. They're not quite where I want them to be for the kids' liking. They still have a little tiny bit of crunch, but they will continue to soften up as they cook in the sauce. So I'm gonna drain that and then we're gonna start adding the other ingredients. All right, we're coming back in with that meat and those onions and peppers. You hear chomping, it's my dogs. They're eating. They always want to come in and eat whenever I'm in the kitchen. It's like they aren't allowed in here unless one of us is in here or something. So I just put in some brown sugar, just a few tablespoons, whatever you prefer. And then I'm coming in with some crushed red pepper because we like that. We like it a lot. We like a little bit of spice. And then I'm going to use some W sauce. Worcester sauce, as Gordon Ramsay says. And I'm going to use quite a bit of this as well, just because I really like the flavor that it gives to these sloppy joes. And then I'm using ketchup. So you can use whatever you want in sloppy joes. Tomato sauce, manwich, whatever. I'm using ketchup because it's what I have on hand. So I've got about a cup there. And then I also like to put a little mustard on mine. There we go. Not too much. Just want a little bit of that vinegary zing that mustard has. And then I'm going to come back in with some more garlic powder. Because even though I used it on the meat, I just poured off a lot of that seasoning. And I want to make sure that I have lots of flavor in these sloppy joes. I'm going to give that a stir. And then if it looks like it's too much ketchup, then I'll just add some broth or something to it to kind of thin that out and tone it down a little bit. And then I'm also going to give it a taste just to make sure it doesn't need anything like salt, pepper. Everything will kind of come out as it cooks, you know what I mean? Like the peppers, the red pepper flakes and all that will kind of intensify as it cooks in, but I just want to see like what does it need right now. That is pretty good. So I'm thinking black pepper, a little more garlic, pinch of salt, and I'm just going to turn it down so it can simmer or cook on low, because we're not really cooking it anymore. We're just letting all the flavors have a chance to cook together. That's it. And here we have my sloppy joe. Don't mind all of this falling off of it, because it wouldn't be a sloppy joe if you weren't slopping it all over the place, right? There we go. That's what's for dinner on Thursday. On Friday, my daughter was dropping her 3 sons off to stay the weekend with us while they went to Chicago. I got out of work at 4:30 and they got dropped off at 5. So what do you do for dinner? Well, I made tacos. And so here I'm just browning up some ground beef, and in the other pan, if you watch my other videos, you know that I prepped some venison burger with some taco seasoning earlier and put it in the freezer just for such an occasion as this. So I just heated that up in one pan and then made some regular old beef hamburger in the other pan and seasoned it up with 2 packs of taco seasoning. I just chopped up some lettuce and got some tomatoes and some onions ready. So we did pick up 2 bags of Doritos just because sometimes the kids just like to have their tacos made on Doritos, like a taco salad or whatever. I don't know. I just figured I'd give everybody a couple of different options. The boys were staying the whole weekend, so I decided that after dinner we would probably just head out and go to a movie on this night just so that we could have a little bit of fun. And so serving up some tacos was a really quick and easy dinner idea. Here I'm just slicing up some tomatoes. When I have tacos, I just kind of like to have slices or wedges of tomatoes. They don't have to be diced. I'm not too picky about my tomatoes, and I am the only one that eats the tomatoes around here, so it can be whatever I want. And so after I get those sliced up, I just put a little bit of that tahini seasoning on them that has like a really nice lime flavor and made these tomatoes taste really good, even though they were just some store-bought off-season tomatoes. And so next I am just making up a little bit of avocado crema. And to do this, I'm just plopping in some chunks of this avocado. I'm using 1 whole avocado, and it's not as ripe as I would like it to be, but that's okay because it's going into this blender cup. And then next I'm adding in some sour cream. I believe I used about a cup of sour cream if we want to get technical. And then next I'm just going to start ripping off some of the leaves of the cilantro and adding it right into my blender. And the other ingredient that I'll be using is a lime. I have a couple of wedges here. I usually have lime and lemon sliced up in my freezer. And so I just thawed it out, and then I only have garlic powder, so I just put about a tablespoon of that in here as well. And then just gave it a swirl in the blender there, and voila. This is not quite like guacamole, and I don't really care for guacamole, but this was so delicious and light and flavorful. This just added a very nice, bright addition to my tacos. This would be so good on so many other things, not just tacos. Now, do you feel like you put so much effort into cooking dinner only for kids to do this? Anyway, let's get back to the grown-up meal here. So I'm just building my tacos with some of that seasoned venison, and I'm adding some cheese and some of those tomatoes that I sprinkled with that tahini seasoning. And then I'm just going to come back with that crema and then just put a good amount of that in there because I really did love this stuff. And probably some lettuce would be good, but it just wasn't feeling like it was a good lettuce day for me with my stomach issues, so I just put some cilantro on mine, and that was it for these tacos. They were so good too. Of course, off camera, I did add a little bit of a hot sauce to my tacos
version
as well.
of tacos.
Are they good? You like them, Zach?
Yeah.
On Saturday, we headed out to the arcade, and the kids wanted to have McDonald's for dinner afterwards, and it was actually like the cheapest fast food option that I could think of, and they love it so much, so that's what we had. Nothing fancy there, but that's going to finish up our weekly What's for Dinner video. I'm so glad that you stopped by to watch it, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.